Hi, good day. My name is Paul Bernard C. Cruz from BAFM2A. I'm going to report gender role and stereotype. Gender role. The role or behavior learned by a person as appropriate to their gender, determined by the prevailing cultural norms. Ito yung kailangan mong i-acto kung ano yung kasarian mo. For example, ako, lalaki ako. Yung mga damit ko, kailangan pang lalaki. Pwedeng mga basketball jersey, mga boxers. Pwede sa akin yung sandal, t-shirt. Basta pang lalaki. Mga shortpet. Pagdating sa buhok, kailangan matitingnan ako na lalaki ako. Isa pang example, pag naman babae, mga dress, makeup, ano pa, pwedeng pang babae, yung buhok nila may kulay, meron kung kulay pink. Tapos minsan ang mga shirt nila, 'di ba, may ikli. Pagdating naman sa sapatos, syempre, ang pipiliin ng mga babae yung mga may heels. O tayo namang mga lalaki, mga sneakers, mga pang-basketball, pang-forma, mga topsider. Ayan. What are the traditional gender roles? Gender roles can be defined as the behaviors, values, attitudes that a society considers appropriate for both male and female. For example, a male. Ang traditional gender role daw ng male, ito yung sa pamilya, ito yung leader, ito yung inaasahan, taga-taguyod, 'di ba? Pagdating naman sa female, sa babae, sila yung nagbabantay sa bahay, sila yung nagluluto, sila yung nagsasaing, sila yung naggagayak ng damit, sila yung naglalaba. Yun yung tinatawag na traditional gender role. Does gender role is important? For me, it's yes. Why? Gender is an important consideration in development. It is a way of looking at how social norms and power structures impact on the lives and opportunity available to different groups of men and women. Globally, more women and men live in poverty. For example, pagdating sa aarestuhin yung isang tao, ang pwede lang umaresto sa babae ay kapwa niya babae. Ang tanging aaresto lang sa kanya ay pulis na babae. Kung lalaki naman yung aarestuhin, kailangan lalaki yung pulis na aaresto. And then, isa pang example, pagdating sa guard, di ba? Kakapkapan tayo. Hindi pwedeng lalaki yung customer tapos babae yung magkakapkap. Paano pagka napunta sa masela na bagay? Offense na agad yon, di ba? Pagdating din naman sa kung babae yung papasok, kailangan babae yung gwardiya na kakapkap. Kung lalaki naman yung papasok, kailangan lalaki din yung gwardiya na kakapkap. Hindi pwede na babae yung papasok and then lalaki yung kakapkap. For me, that is the one greatest example of importance of gender role. Gender stereotyping or gender stereotype refers to the practice of ascribing to an individual, women or men, specific attributes, characteristics or roles by reason only of her or his membership in social group or women or men. For example, kapag ang batang babae, niregaluhan natin ng isang bagay, ano yung i-expect niya? For me, I think she expects something better na akma dun sa gender niya. Siguro mag-isip siya na, baka Barbie doll to. Baka ito pang luto-lutoan. Or makeup, dress, mga heels, or anything na gamit na pang babae. Hindi siya mag-e-expect ng gamit na panlalaki kasi babae siya. Another example, birthday ko, niregaluhan ako ng isang kaibigan ko. Ang i-expect ko dun sa regalo niya, mga hilig ko. Siyempre, lalaki ako. Ano ihilig ko? Sapatos na panlalaki, pwedeng bola, pang basketball. Ako, mahilig ako mag-gitara. Pwedeng gitara, pwedeng mga gamit ng gitara.
Castro from BAFM2A. What is gender role? Gender role, also known as a sex role, is a social role encompassing a range of behaviors and attitudes that are generally considered acceptable, appropriate, or desirable for a person based on person's biological or perceived sex. Gender roles are usually centered on conceptions of masculinity, and femininity. Although there are exceptions and variations, the specifics regarding these genders' expectation may vary substantially among cultures, while other characteristics may be common throughout a range of cultures. There is ongoing debate as to what extent gender roles and their variations are biologically determined, and to what extent they are socially constructed. Gender roles influence a wide range of human behavior, often including the clothing a person chooses, professions a person pursues, and the personal relationship a person enters. Various groups, most notably the feminist movement, have led efforts to change aspects of prevailing gender roles that are believed are oppressive and inaccurate. The term gender role was first used by John Money and colleagues in 1954. During the courses of this study of intersex individuals described the manners in which these individuals expresses that they were male or female even though no clear biological assignment existed.
Gender stereotypes. A gender stereotype is a widely held belief of generalization about behavior and characteristic attribute for women and men. Gender stereotypes came from by the complex and originate from local culture, tradition, parents, and also social media and friends. How do gender stereotypes affect people? People direction different. This happens because of gender stereotypes. Others said, boys are much stronger than girls and not emotion. Girls are sweet and kind. Negative impact of gender stereotypes for people. Gender stereotype shapes self-protection, attitude to relationship, and influence participation in the world of work.
There are kinds of gender stereotype. The first one is personality traits and the other one is domestic behavior or domestic violence. Let's talk about personality traits. It reflects people's characteristic, patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It's imply consistency and stability of someone who score high on a specific traits like extraversion is expected to be sociable in different situations and over time. The psychologist named Scott Barry Kaufman named the specific personality traits. These are openness of feelings, straightforwardness, competence, warmth, positive emotion, low level of angry, low anxiety, low depression, low vulnerability to stress, low impulsivity. According to Dr. Kaufman, you don't have all these personality traits to have a healthy life, but rather, the key of determination is the extent to which low score on this profile block you from reaching your personal goals. Having anxiety, depression, and stress plays a big role in keeping you achieving all of those things. There's no better time than now to make sure your mental health status is not what getting in a way of you living a long and happy life. The second one is domestic behavior. Domestic behavior or domestic violence is not a violence alone. Domestic behavior is any behavior that the purpose of which is to gain power and control over a spouse, partner, girlfriend or boyfriend, or intimate family member. Abuse is a learned behavior. It is not caused by anger, mental problems, drugs, or alcohol, or other common excuses. And it is a pattern of coercive, controlling, that can include physical abuse, emotional or psychological abuse, sexual abuse, or financial abuse. The third basic kinds of gender stereotype is occupation. It is the naturalization of feminine and masculine qualities we choose for the gender division of occupation. The occupation of men were based on the physical strength, and the occupation of women were connected to the dexterity of the fields of care and education. Occupations are reliably stereotyped along the dimensions of warmth and competence. By these stereotypes, some people are quick to assume that teachers and nurses are women and that pilots, doctors, and engineers are men.
Hey, my name is Gladys, and I am here to discuss what is physical appearance. Physical appearance, our society places a particular value on physical characteristics. Curvy body shapes, long legs, and luxurious hair are characteristics that are often seen as desirable in women. For men, it might include the characteristics such as muscularity, tallness, and firm jawline. For both sexes, there is youthfulness, white, even teeth, and facial symmetry. There is a vast amount of media coverage implicitly preferring for. And in the case of the advertising industry, explicitly promoting these models of attractiveness. Films, magazine, and television all contribute to what might be termed the tyranny of body shape image. There is a whole industry that aims to mold consumer preferences and social products by distorting the reality of normal into a reality of ideals, such as so-called ideal of women being size 0. Because the ideal of attractiveness based on physical characteristics rather than personality traits such as kindness, intelligence, thoughtfulness, sense of humor, is continually being promoted in Western societies. You might assume that relationship in West would be based on physical characteristics. This assumption has been found to be true, but only up to a point. Whether or not it's true might be with the reason for the relationship, or short-term fun or longer-term commitment. This suggests that in order to understand why particular physical attributes are deemed attractive, we need to consider human evolution. By Darwin's theory of evolution and natural selection state that characteristics that give an animal or human the best chance of survival. And would suggest that attraction based on physical characteristics is related to features which is indicated healthiness and especially fertility. The physical characteristic for females focus on body shape, especially the waist to hip, measurement ratio, or WHR. A WHR measure of 0.8 means that person's waist measurement is 80% of their hip measurement. For a woman, a WHR of around 0.7 is better than a high of 0.9 and over in terms of healthy and fertility. In most cultures, men will rate women with 0.7 WHR as more attractive than a woman with a higher WHR. Popular evidence to support this is the fact that present-day catwalk supermodels as well as film stars of the 1950s such as Marilyn Monroe and going back even further, the famous Armless or statue of the Venus de Milo all have WHRs in the 0.7 range. However, body weight may be even more important than WHR in determining attractiveness in Swami and Burnham report. Generally, in economically developed societies, men tend to prepare women with lighter build while men in economically and developing societies tend to prepare a heavier build. These cultural differences are explained by evolutionary psychology, suggesting that in society where food supplies were poor or uncertain, it was understandable that women with a high weight body would be seen as better choice of partner. In economically developed societies, these more basic considerations, which are focused on survival in difficult environments, are not relevant, and other factors may come into play. The evolutionary approach is controversial, with most psychologists viewing it such much too simplistic, but it does offer a wide-ranging explanatory framework within which to begin to understand and interpret human behavior. This work, where signs of healthiness are most important, once these have been considered, signal of wealth or status may be taken into account. And that's all. My name is Gads again. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my topic is all about hyperfemininity. Hyperfemininity is defined as exaggerated adherence to a feminine gender role as it relates to heterosexual relationship. Hyperfeminine woman believes that their success is determined by maintaining a romantic relationship with a man, and that their sexuality can be used to maintain this relationship. Femininity is not just a lipstick, stylish hairdos, and clothes. It is the divine adornment of humanity. It finds in your qualities of your capacity, your spirituality, delicacy, to love radiance, sensitivity, creativity, charm, graciousness, gentleness, dignity, and quiet strength. It is manifest differently in each girl or woman. Femininity is part of our inner beauty. So how this issue affects women? Women are expected to maintain possibly thin figures, flawless skin, and beautifully styled hair at all times. Girls are developing eating disorders to live up to these standards, and many others have an unhealthy relationship to food and eating, in fear of gaining weight. How this issue affects men. These standards of men portrayed in the digital world and popular media feed into the hyper-masculine themes and create an expectations of what a real woman should look and act like.
And I am here to discuss how we can fight gender role stereotypes and what are some basic struggles we can feel if we encounter this problem. Life is unfair, that one rule. The famous first rule of Bill Gates 11, rules we never learn in school, resonate with everybody but probably more with women than men. According to the Worldwide Gender Gap Index, 108 years are needed to shut the worldwide gender gap, while classical economics predict that discrimination on the idea of characteristics like gender should naturally disappear because of competition, reality seems to inform a special story. The lack of girls in male-dominated and high-paying industries like STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, is usually cited as a critical factor behind gender gap. Even though girls perform also as boys in math and science standardized tests at college, fewer women consider knowledgeable career in these fields. Women seem to face different hurdles that have little to do with their abilities. Gender stereotypes are one of them. Stereotypes often function shortcut for forming impressions of individuals and guide our decisions, without people being completely conscious of it. Gender preconception have important consequences for the workplace. Stereotypes harm us all. Stereotypes are entrenched beliefs perpetuated both men and ladies, present in our minds since childhood. Anybody can easily fall into this trap. Are you curious? You can test your unconscious association between gender and science arts by taking the Gender Career Implicit Association test. 70% of individuals who took this test across 34 countries associated science as being more male than female.
Gender role stereotypes are when a person is expected to act in a certain way based on society's expectations related to their gender. Traditional gender roles go back to a time when there were clear and, at times, unequal rules about how people were expected to act based on their gender. People who were born male were expected to be strong and aggressive, not emotional, and, of course, to love sports. People who were born female were expected to be kind and nurturing, emotional, and domestic, meaning they were all supposed to be able to cook and clean. Gender role stereotypes also affect people's understanding of who is beautiful and who is not. People still go to great lengths to try and conform to these unrealistic ideals they see in popular media. They diet, obsessively exercise, and go through plastic surgery. Additionally, strict stereotypes about gender police people's emotions. Girls are not expected to show anger, and boys aren't supposed to be empathetic, nurturing, or vulnerable. Luckily, as times have changed, so have people's expectations about gender roles. More and more people are free to behave in ways that are true to who they really are, and that is a good thing.
The ball is in our court. Raising awareness of these challenges alone is insufficient to change the mindset. The solution lies in education. If equality fostered within the school and the teacher gives quality and gender neutral education, every child can fight stereotyping. I can fight stereotyping by learning and knowing that every person is equal. Indeed, listening and speaking up.